I liked it. Well, and so my mom's like, she's like,
We did go
I'm
live,
proud of
but
you,
tell
Ginger.
your
You
story.
didn't get into the emotional aspect of it. I'm proud of you.
Well, the last
She's like,
time we talked,
yeah, yep. Um,
yep,
it's
people are rolling
easy
in.
to so easy to get emotionally charged with all the craziness that's going on in the world right now. But we have a lot to be thankful for today. We have, in Wisconsin, we've got our elections for our local officials and most importantly, our state Supreme Court justice. And in case you didn't know it, Walter, today is the 50-year anniversary of the first episode of Charlie's Angels, which sort of set a whole different world for women on TV. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's something. And yeah, I tell you, I appreciate you being here. Like I said, I've been talking to everybody, and these just open conversations half the time. And you being, yeah, I think it's good that it's your responsibility being the respectable politician, but I can be emotional because I'm just the media guy. So I'll scream for you. And I'm just like everything that's going on right now. I mean, this shouldn't be happening. They're literally talking about genocide, like destroying a whole country. And what can we
Yeah.
do?
So I will tell you that I am intending on issuing a press release soon. So I like to do my homework first. So I was looking at where does the definition of war crimes come from and what does it include? And man, like what he's looking to do falls squarely within it. You cannot be purposely intending to attack civilians. It's just, first of all, like I shouldn't have to look for a law to know that that's a bad idea. Also, we shouldn't have to look up like we should know that bombing schools with little girls and bombing
Twice.
schools. Well, and so also, so this morning I noticed that the newer school I think has older kids, and so it was more like a research facility, but it wasn't any type of research for weapons. It's literally public education, and we are above that. The United States of America is above that. We know better. This president should know better. And I certainly hope that our electorate knows better. And while the president is not up for election this year, there's a whole lot of his minions that are. And so I hope people are paying attention. And I hope people are paying attention at the local level and your Supreme Court level. And most importantly, at your state secretary, like people don't understand who it is that confirms that votes are valid and should be counted. And so I hope people are paying attention to that. And I hope that the folks like myself who are running part of our message isn't just about why vote for me, but why you vote. Like some
Yeah.
folks have given up. They're frustrated. They don't feel that what they do or say matters. They don't think that the laws that you create matter because people right now aren't even following the law. But just, you know, I like to quote other people. I have my own ideas, but also a lot of my upbringing is from other people's good ideas, like RBG and Michelle Obama. Like, don't take yourself down to their level. Go high. We know better. We know that you don't kill civilians. We know that when you have the level of sophistication that the United States has on their weapons, the one thing I do believe that Pete Hegseth and President Trump said is that we have the ability to have a laser-focused attack. So then tell me, how in the hell did we end up hitting a school with a bunch of little girls?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shame
Well,
on us.
and everything they say always contradicts itself. And I'm just tired of normalizing this administration. I did
Yeah.
it live this week with This Will Hold. And just, you talk to experts. I mean, we have this erosion of expert opinions. The media is not interviewing experts. Interview some experts on election integrity. And
Yeah.
again, we know the Republicans cheat. They're trying to cheat with the SAVE Act. They're trying to cheat with gerrymandering. They're trying to cheat with purging polling rolls. They limit the number of voting machines that are available. Right-wing groups own the tabulation machines. And then somehow the Democrats say we are not allowed to even discuss whether it's like we just assume everything's fine. Like, look at this infrastructure. It's gigantic. It's the entire United States. Everything is at stake. And we're not even supposed to talk about whether these elections could be stolen because this guy, 34-time convicted felon, business fraud related to election interference. He was under indictment for election interference in 2020.
Yes.
This guy cheats. Everything he does, he cheats at. He cheats at golf. He cheats at his wife. He cheats at his business. He can't talk straight. He can't say 2 words without lying. Why shouldn't we examine that election? And they do nothing but examine the 2020 election even now. So,
Walter, I don't think he'd take issue with anything you said except you called him a cheater at golf, and I think that might hurt him.
Well, I want to see
the
him.
rest
If
of it
he's
he
so
doesn't
great,
care about.
yeah, like I keep thinking we should try to antagonize him and get him on the tour. Oh, we know you're so great at that. Go on the tour. Just so he has to show how bad he is because he just avoids, he slithers away from accountability. He's a person who has not one skill. That guy couldn't fill out the Sudoku puzzle in the paper. And
The
why?
thing that he was good at, Walter, the thing that he was good at was ratings on television for that stupid show where he was firing people, where he made everything so
Yeah,
dramatic. But now look, he's firing all the ladies, but then he fills the lady positions with men who are loyal to him. I mean, Pam Bondi needed to go. Also, like, she sold her soul for him.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. I
Well,
mean, she needed to go, make no mistake about it. As did Noam. Like these people need to be gone. It's interesting to me that all the people who are coming in to replace are all men, white men, um, who don't have the credentials for the positions they're being put in. But I guess, I mean, here's where being raised by someone in mental health, I always look for what's the bright side. What's the silver lining in the cloud? The day is coming. The day is coming. People are going to be held accountable. I am very much looking forward to being a part of the people. You hear about the common sense, but then you have people who put that and then they say a whole bunch of things and promises that they can't make. Well, I should say it different. Like, do make the promises. They can't make them happen.
yeah.
You were talking about, or I read, I've been following you.
I'm
Been
all over the
following you,
place. It's a
Walter.
lot.
And
It's a lot.
there's those far leftists and there's the extreme rightists. And then there's just a bunch of people who really just want this world to be an okay place to raise your family. They just want things to go back to some sense of normal. Given the social media that we have, given the AI, I mean, you can't recreate what we had 30 years ago. Like, we are living in a different time, but it doesn't need to be so damn divisive. There are a lot of people who are very much like-minded. And number one, there are a lot of people who can't stand listening to politicians because they have heard promises far too many times as they're trying to figure out whether or not they're going to have their SNAP benefits. There are people who are far too upset with politicians because their taxes are still being, increased, or they're paying higher taxes and yet there's referendums for schools. People ask about how much money have you raised? It is the saddest state of affairs when the DCCC will stick their nose in people's business pre-primary, even though they say we don't get involved pre-primary, but they do it only to get those who have financed the shit out of their campaigns, and then only later to find out, oh, look, some of that's dirty, dark money. Let's start with, how do you go out to the public and tell them that you're going to go to Washington, D.C. and you're going to make things affordable, but never mind that we're spending millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in campaigns?
Yeah.
How can you even say you're about trying to make things affordable when you have one donor donating $780,000 thanks to my father-in-law, or I put in $1 million thanks to the pyramid that I was part of when I was a lawyer in Florida? Like, how
You're
can
talking
you
about other
even
people, to be clear, right?
this? Absolutely. My opponent's on the other ticket.
I wanted to make sure you had that clear.
Oh, I appreciate you. Right. So let me be clear. Michael Alfonso's is getting, so they finally tracked the $1 million that came in through the folks that need to lobby Sean Duffy for their contracts. And then they're covering the media on the attorney on the other side who got himself in a little bit of trouble, and millions of dollars are involved. And now I guess perhaps there can be some better ideas about how he is self-funded with $1 million. But I don't know how you can face the general public and talk about I'm from here or I'm going to represent the people from here when you don't know the first thing about what it is to live paycheck to paycheck like I have. When you don't know the first thing about what it's like to see folks who need to go to the doctor, but to go to the doctor, you actually have to go to 3 different facilities and you're probably not going to be able to do it on the same day. And oh, by the way, we don't have any place to go for your pregnancy care because we don't really have OBGYNs in this neck of the woods. Like those people who are running with those millions and bazillions of dollars don't know the first thing about what it's like to live in this district. Shame on them.
Yeah.
And shame on anybody who votes for them. All right, so there, I got a little fired up with you.
I think that's good. Yeah.
So listen, we need to get out of this war. $1 billion a day. Like, how many hospitals could we fund? How many schools could we fund? Health care for everyone and the next generation and the next generation if we weren't spending $1 billion a day on a war that's illegal. And for all those people who are out there saying, but it is legal because the president has the War Power Act. No, read it. First of all, it's not a War Power Act. It's a War Power Resolution. The first time you say act, I know you haven't read shit. It's a War Power Resolution. And the only time he has the authority to do it is if we're under attack or there's an imminent threat, and he had neither. And now they're talking about 60 to 90 days. No, the law says 60 days. The law says if Congress does not ratify it, if the Congress does not approve this war, then we're done funding it without a vote from this Congress. And by the way, if those Republicans up there vote to continue this war, then it's on all of them. And now it's not just about a radical president. It's about everybody who's supporting him. It just is so sad to me that it looks like we have a bunch of guys who just got out of some college fraternity who are all measuring to see who's got the biggest body parts as they like flex their muscles and, getting to this pissing match. Well, what's the consequence? People are dying.
Yeah.
People are dying. Little girls in schools are dying. But I guess if we kill little girls in schools in another country, then we can delay releasing the records about what you did to the little girls in the United States.
Perfect. And I mean, this election thing where there is pretty strong evidence that this is an illegitimate presidency entirely. And I don't know, at this point, I appreciate the energy that you're showing because I'm feeling it too. I know everybody's feeling it, and it just becomes terrifying. What's going to happen in the next 24 hours? Is this the end of human civilization? That's really a serious question at this point. Unless, I mean, you've got the legal background. I don't
Yeah.
know. What kind of things can you say? What can we do state level? What can the government do? Where can we put pressure? What do you think?
Well, thank you. I do think it is time, or at least we should continue to lean into the court system, lean into the legal system, because it's our final defense to the stuff that's going on. And unfortunately, it's tough to explain to people that the wheels of justice take more time. But it's for good reasons, Walter. I'm not the person who just hops on social media and drops down my opinion without picking up the books and going to look at, how do we actually define war crimes? Where did that actually come from? Is this a document that actually we've signed off on? Because some countries have signed certain things and other countries have not. It takes time when the threshold is be right. It's very easy to act quickly if you don't care about the truth.
Yeah.
Just let that sit, because that's what's happening. Things go quickly if you don't care about the truth. If you don't care about the law, then you just do whatever the hell you want to. But those of us who believe in our legal system, those of us who believe in our Constitution, we know that the day is coming when people will be held accountable. And it is very sad to see all the collateral damage that's happening in the time that it takes for us to pick up those wheels and get them moving. But also, I don't want the judicial system to react in like kind. You don't sink down to the level of the people that we're trying to take care of in the court system. We need to be steady, and move forward on enforcing the law. It irked me. I watched the debate for our 2 Supreme Court justices candidates. And then the next day, Maria was on the television talking about her policies on transgender rights. I'm like, you just spent the whole night talking about somebody else having political agendas, and now you're going to take up an agenda that you weren't willing to discuss during the debate. And then she herself was videoed talking about the law in Wisconsin. And she said, well, what you do is you look at the statute and you look at the cases and then you work around them. I'm like, in what world do you work around them? Like, she literally said you work around them. And I said, listen, this is really easy. People who are judges enforce the law. Everybody else follows it. There's no working around it.
Yeah.
It's follow it, enforce it.
Yeah.
The end.
I appreciate you saying that. And it's, I've got lawyers in my family, and it's just sort of those, so you hear the terms a lot and things like that. But, I don't, you're
Well,
watching
it's
it from the
important
outside.
to understand. I mean, the reason we have lawyers is because some laws are pretty complicated. And you have to figure out, like, you ask the question, where do we look for the answers? That's the right question. It's the first thing they teach you in law school is jurisdiction. Is this something that my town of Germantown should be dealing with, or Juneau County, or is it the state of Wisconsin, or is it our federal government? And that's important to figure out because different people, different entities have different levels of authority to enforce the laws that we're supposed to be following. It's time to care about what the law is.
Yes.
I appreciated that. I'm not sure if it was you. It might have been you and it might not have been you. I just read, like, I don't sleep
That's
anymore, right?
good.
Because I
I
just
know the
need to know
feeling.
more.
Yeah.
And the executive order and talking about birthright citizenship. Um,
I wrote the one
the,
about how that's a gift to child traffickers. That was
yeah,
my,
okay, I read that. And the hypocrisy to be pro-life
yeah.
and not care about children who are born in our borders. It's not their fault if their parents did or didn't do something correctly. And I can speak from the most difficult case I have ever had to deal with. And there's a very well-known author, Dave Pels, who wrote about, it's called The Boy Called It, and there's like three
I've heard
different
about this.
books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just horrific what the child in the series of books goes through. And it didn't come close to the case that I was dealing with. This child was not allowed to eat with her family. She was locked in the closet. The only food that she was given was a rat that she was expected to kill and then eat. They sprayed her mouth with gasoline. She had to have surgery after surgery to repair the scars on her body. The type of torture that, you know, waterboarding, shit, this kid went through way worse than waterboarding. Um, I'm happy to report that she graduated and
Oh,
she's like pursuing a degree in social work. Problem was her dad's convicted and her mom's not here legally. And we found a family who was prepared to take in her, and there were 3 siblings. And so, but she wasn't a legal citizen. And it takes a really friggin' long time to become a legal citizen. And so folks are very upset at ICE for all the right reasons because these people don't have the authority to do the things they're doing just generically. And then horrifically, they're violating Fourth and Fifth Amendments and all sorts of searches and seizures. And, let's not get into murdering people. Um, Obviously, things that they should not be doing. If you're here and you're trying to do the right thing, that should matter. And our government should be set up so that people who are here and have the right to seek asylum, or they're here because they're kids of abusive parents, and we have someone who's prepared to foster them, we should be able to get those folks citizenship, especially when they learn they want to grow up to be social workers and help other children in our country.
yeah. And
What
what I
else
was
do you
going
want to talk about? Bring it on. I'm
Oh,
ready.
yeah. Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great. And I was getting to before my legal background, I know a little bit. And to me, I don't have, a professional legal background, but even so, the decisions that are coming out make absolutely no sense. And these are supposed to be, from our Supreme Court. You read some of the things they say, and it's like your argument is completely nonsense. And so, what is your thoughts? Because it's just like, and again, these just complete abdication of the rules. We have judges, people running for Supreme Court in the state who don't seem to have a basic understanding of what that entails. And we're seeing that entirely among the right. They always promote people that are just offensively unqualified. Then we got jerks like Fetterman who give them the final vote they need to get in. And just this lack of any awareness for, let's just hire people that are actually qualified for the jobs that we put them in and then hold them to the same standard as we hold everybody else, where the law is not optional. It must be, I don't know. What is your response? It must make you pull out your hair, and I don't have much hair left. So you can see how it's affecting me.
Well, we have a checks and balance system. We have 3 branches of the government for a reason. We have a constitution for a reason. And it's not by chance that the Article 1 is about all the powers to Congress. We created this after we left a country where there was a king. It was clear that our founders did not ever want us in this situation again. And so everything in Article 1 tells us what Congress can do. All right, well, so then let's start doing it. The difficulty is, and I appreciated the conversation that you had about a moderate, a Dem who can see their way to results. Like, that's my platform, is I am hired by clients to identify the things that they need fixed and to go get them results. That's what normal people do. You look at a problem and you go try your best to get a result. Well, in fact, my living counts on me being able to be someone who can say I get results. For 30 years, I've needed to say that I am able to get my clients results. And I can say for 30 years, I get my clients results in a way that is always in the best interest of children. The end. So that's what we need, is we need people who can see people on the other side who also know it's my job to get results. The people voted me here, not so I could have a fancy title and a nice office and some people that I want around me. They hired you to go there to get them results, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. And likewise, if you're a Dem, you need to get in there and get results for everybody in your district, whether they voted Democrat or Republican. But everybody who's been elected has a responsibility to the people who elected them to get some damn results.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have too many old school politicians who expect and demand their freshman politicians to follow the party line. That's over. Now, you laughed when I brought up Charlie's Angels, but I do think I think it's relevant. It was 50 years ago when women finally showed up and were the ones who were smart, tough, able to solve problems. Now, granted, they had some male voice in some box. We never saw him because he didn't matter. He didn't matter. The women who did the work were what mattered. And we need people who show up and get results.
Yeah.
And I do believe, Walter, that we are going to be able to hold the pedophiles accountable. It's going to take some time. I don't know what Doge did when they were in there, but we can't forget about how this administration started. I am concerned about what has happened or what information was obtained through the Social Security Administration's mainframe when they let Elon Musk and the young college kids that went in there with him. What the hell were they doing in there? What did they learn? Why did they take it? What are they going to do with it? I don't know that we're going to ever get to all the answers, but we ought to get to looking.
Absolutely. I wanted to just say real quick too, one of the problems, I see Fred's in my chat. There's Fred. I wanted you to meet Fred just so we could talk. Hey,
Fred.
Let me finish my point I was going to say real quick. What you're saying is great. We do have to compromise, and actually get things done. But we have a Republican Party that's running entirely on this idea that government just can't work, like the entire party. And so they they get in there and they just deliberately sabotage things. Then they go, oh, see, government doesn't work. They're beating on it, destroying it, pouring sugar in the tank. Well, that doesn't work. So to some extent, in a reasonable system, what you're saying is great. We do have to have that idea of working with people that disagree with us a little bit. I say that's more like the disagreements between you and me, which are both of us agree that we don't torture little kids to death, and then we can work forward. Me working with people that think it's okay to torture kids, That's not
No,
acceptable. So.
that's not acceptable. Listen, we're celebrating 250 years of our Constitution. We 250 years, 250 years. So it does work. We've just got some flies in the ointment that need to get the hell out.
Absolutely. Let me say hi to Fred. Hi, Fred.
Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I had another live that ran long. So
Oh, that's fine. But I know, Fred, I was reading your post today and just the concerns about Iran and your background. And what are your thoughts there? And this is, our wonderful congressional candidate for what is it, District 7 in Wisconsin?
It's
Yes.
District 7, Fred. It's the biggest one in the state and probably one of the biggest in the country. But I'd love to hear what you have to say about the war. Go for it.
but, I this is at this point, it's just it's kind of
Yeah.
terrifying. It's kind of terrifying
Mhm.
because you have a president of the United States threatening God knows what. Is it nuclear Armageddon? Is it just conventional means he's going to do? Like, he's threatening to wipe out an entire civilization. 90,
Civilization.
90 million people, right? 90 million people. And, that's not including I don't know how many, close to a billion or maybe
Yeah.
200 million Shia Muslims, because I mean, Pete Hegseth constantly refers to it as a
Yeah.
holy war. It's a,
Mhm.
and I find it fascinating now that you have these MAGA politicians and these influencers like Alex Jones or Tucker Carlson, and there was a few others that are coming out and saying, "Oh, he's crazy. I didn't vote for this." It's like, yeah, but you did though. Like,
That
this
was
is
it.
the rhetoric he's been using. He's just taking it to its logical conclusion, and like, and it's interesting. And this is why I'm glad Walter's doing this. And when he said, hey, can you pop on? I was like, yeah, I'd love to talk to a progressive candidate because I think so much of our politics, and I'm starting to see this from most folks is it's where it's not even the art of the possible, right? We don't say, hey, here's the problem, and this is what we need. It's like, okay, you have how many millions of people that are dying from lack of care and health insurance,
Mhm.
and it's like, and then you say, well, we need universal health care instead of all this 1.5 trillion in Department of War that Trump wants. And then someone inevitably says, well, we can't do universal health care.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we can't do that. We can't, we can't do that.
You're dreaming. You're being unrealistic, they
It's
say.
like, oh, well,
Who's
yeah,
going to pay for that?
well, it's
Burning
like,
money.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can't tax billionaires because, they might leave,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or it's like, or we can't, well, AI is just here to stay. We've just got to let the tech bros and Sam Altman do whatever they want because, AI is here to stay. And that's the thing that I'm sick of in our politics. I'm sick of this, like, instead of saying, yeah, but there's homeless, it was like, well, there's always going to be homeless, but we sure can mitigate it with
Right.
actual money and a commitment to doing it. Well, there's always going to be people that get sick and, don't have, yeah, but we can mitigate it.
We don't even have to accept it will always be. We can defeat poverty. That's what we can. We don't have to be defeatists. But your thoughts,
Right.
Ginger.
Well,
Yeah.
and up north. So, Fred, where are you from?
So I live in Colorado. So I'm in Colorado.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the district I'm running in is like the biggest district in Wisconsin. It covers the top third of the state. And the reason that it can cover so much land is because there's so many it's national and state forests. If you're in a space that has a traffic light, it's like a metropolis. Because it's just one small community after another, after another, after another. And let me tell you, when you talk about healthcare, like we have
Oh,
clinics
Yeah.
closing.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody coming up here to replace the doctors that are going to be retiring.
Yeah.
And like if you're a veteran and you're going to the VA, like good luck. Grab your calendar for next fall when they can get you in for your first screening.
Yeah.
If you're pregnant, good luck. We don't really have a lot of OBGYNs who can help you with your prenatal care. And so it's like dire. And the other thing that I didn't know has been a problem for years, I wasn't running for office for years. So my cousins had no reason to talk to me about their fear that they're going to go bankrupt. So I have a ton of cousins who up in the Northwoods are logging and or are the drivers that drive those logs from the forest to the paper mills. Except there's a problem. The paper mills are closed and they keep closing. And they're shutting down little by little until the point where the if you drive up north now, which I'm doing because, Walter, I turned in my leased vehicle and bought a used Jeep. So I don't have to worry about the miles I'm putting on that lease. I had 300 miles left before I turned it in. But so as you're driving around, you see these piles and piles of logs just offside the road because they're waiting for a mill to open their door so they can deliver their product. So that is a mainstay of our economy that folks work in the woods.
Yeah.
And now we're
Yeah,
not
I
going to
can
work
see
in the
that.
woods.
Yeah.
And our schools are not getting funded. And our clinics are closing. And I just went to, it was an amazing breakfast. It was called the Senior Empowerment Project.
Nice.
Here's the thing. Our Northwoods is beautiful. And we have beautiful forests, beautiful lakes, beautiful shorelines. And so when folks retire from their city jobs, they move up north. Now, if you end up being on a fixed income, there are housing problems, right? Can you keep your house? Too much money that you don't qualify for the nursing homes that, would otherwise take care of you through your Medicare or Medicaid? Well, by the way, we cut that. And it was frightening. Walter, I'll use an emotional word. I try to not use them very much, but it was frightening to see how many folks that our seniors live there now and what the projections are in like the next 5 years. And we do not have the facilities to help care for them. And we don't have the programs to provide them a means to affordable care in their home. So somebody's going to need to wake up. And guess what? You know what seniors do? They vote.
Good.
They vote. You can rely on them to vote. And I hope people are listening because the tribes get it right. Like they know how special our elders are and why we should treat them with the respect that they deserve, but they will vote. And so voters are going to have to start listening to, don't mess with my Social Security.
Yeah.
Make sure I have enough coverage for the medicine I need to stay alive. And don't you dare take my house away from me unless you've got a different place for me to live a reasonable life. And like, those should not be partisan discussions.
No.
Those should be bipartisan because they're Republican and Dems who need medicine and a place to live and doctors who can take care of them.
Mm-hmm. My mother is a retired federal employee. And at the time, she bought disability insurance, which was supposed to be good. It's kind of not as good as it should be now. We got her into a nonprofit assisted living memory facility that they have in Castle Rock. It was actually started by 3 nurses back in like 1904.
Fred, I live in Wisconsin on Castle Rock Lake.
Wow, that's crazy. I live in Castle Rock, Colorado. Nice.
See, it's the universe telling us we're going to win. That's what it is.
There it is, right there. Yeah. And the crazy thing is though, is like, even with all that, we still had to do a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And still had to do a GoFundMe because, she had medical bills that weren't totally covered because she had an accident in the home. We had expenses that we had to meet because we put her in one place and they said, okay, it's going to be this much. And as soon as we got in there, they said, well, she's having issues. It's like, yeah, she's got dementia. So then they jacked the rates up by 3 times. And then we were lucky to get her into the other place. And so after all that, and I think we, like, through the generosity of our friends, we ended up raising like $17,000 for our family. It cost double that. So my sister and I had to bear the brunt of double that. And, fortunately we were able to do it, but it wiped out what little savings we had.
I'm sorry.
And again, and well, here's the thing. I look at this and I say, my mom has a federal retirement under the old system. She has annuity from my dad, who was a federal employee. she has some disability that's going to pay for a chunk of it, like it pays $133 a day for at least 3 years, right? After that, her retirement should hopefully take care of the rest. She's one of the fortunate ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't imagine that these seniors who are living on just Social Security, what happens for them when there's no Medicare and no Medicaid. And Biden wanted the soft, again, he wanted soft infrastructure and he got mocked for it. Like, oh, what is that? Senior care, blah, blah, blah. It's like, do you know how many senior daycare centers I see popping up now in my area that are like the kind of care that is coming for the baby boomers that are, when Kamala talked about the sandwich generation, I jokingly say that I'm the open face sandwich. I don't have kids, neither does my sister. But I've spent the last 5 years being a caregiver to my sister, who's a disabled veteran, and my mother. And it got to the point where it was just because she kept wandering, we literally just couldn't take care of it at home anymore. We're like, we need a full-time facility. She needs 24-hour care, and like we just couldn't provide it, and so again, we struggled, but we're also extremely fortunate, and there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to be that fortunate,
right?
Even though we could absolutely take care of these people.
Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to scrap the cap. See, they like it.
Yes.
See, Mega is really good at the messaging. And I have learned that people, like women, say you don't have to mansplain stuff to me. Well, I had a leader of a tribe tell me to stop demsplaining, that we need to come up with better messaging. Scrap the cap is simple. There is no reason for it. And we need to fund it. The folks that put into that those accounts expect and are entitled, not because it's a benefit, but because it's their money. It was their money that was invested. And so they have every right to expect to get that money back out. The end. One of the easiest ways to take care of that is to scrap the cap and take care of the people who put that money in. And shame on every politician who ever touched money in that pot. It wasn't theirs to take. I don't know. If people take money out of my business, that's called embezzlement.
Yeah. Yep. We're all fed up too with so many people going into government just to enrich themselves. And that's normal.
Okay, you got to let me talk. My mom and dad are going to be watching this, and they're going to be mad if I don't tell Fred from Castle Rock. My parents are both retired federal employees.
Nice. Okay.
I love the
nice. My dad retired from the National Weather Service. And my mother, she worked for the VA, but then she retired from the Forestry Service.
Oh my gosh, my dad worked for the Forest Service, but not how you would think. He worked for a program called Job Corps, which
I know Job Corps. Yeah.
Well, it's a great program for kids who can't make it through mainstream school. So that's my whole life. My dad was in Job Corps. And then once us kids were in school, Mom finished up. This is funny. Mom finished up her degree and she had 3 job offers. One for Schneider Trucking.
Okay.
One from this guy called Bill Gates that she didn't know. And then one from Social Security.
Nice.
She took the job from Social Security.
That's a tough department to work in. That's a tough one.
But she worked there for 30 years. And so as an attorney who's worked with families and with kids, and so not only do I do divorces and surrogacies and all sorts of things, but also guardianships of folks who don't have the mental capacity to make decisions for themselves. So I have had to work with SSI and SSDI, and I've never had to stand in line to get the answers because I know my mom's phone number. But I know that there's money there. I know that there can be money there for a very long time. We just need to take care of it, and we need to stop treating people differently about the money that goes in there. If we're going to cap anything, it should be the money that comes out. That doesn't mean we need to cap the money that goes in. If you pay more, like the people who earn more than, I think it's $184,000 now, Like, just pony up.
Yeah. And I mean, it's you're not talking about like taking all their I mean, it's literally just like a couple percentage points. I mean, Elizabeth Warren has a great graphic that's been going around where it's like, I think for every dollar, it's like, and then she's got 3 pennies, like, and then like for billionaires, every dollar they make, it's 2 pennies.
Yeah.
And if you did that, you get all these other things that are paid for 6 trillion. I mean, you start reversing the debt in the other direction and you get to pay for all these other things. But again, it's, you got Pete Hegseth coming in and saying, we need $200 billion for Iran. Like it's nothing. Or you got Trump wanting 1.5 trillion. He wants to and again, we already spend in the defense budget or the war budget, whatever you want to call it now, more than 16 countries behind us combined. Yeah. And most of those are allies.
Allies. Yes. Yes. And
it doesn't go to the troops. It doesn't go to the VA.
All the grift.
It goes to defense contractors.
The Pentagon can't pass an audit. I mean, why isn't anybody mad about that? And then the police force would be the 3rd largest military in the world. It's like maybe if we invested in some social programs, we wouldn't have to beat people over the head in this country. Is what I.
Well, it's like you look at what was it? It was Columbus, Ohio, and you look at their. There was a graph that was going around for a little while. You look at their municipal budget. And it's like you get maybe I think like their second highest expense was like 20 million. And it was like for education for all the school systems in that area. And then by far and away, the largest part of the budget, which was over 200 million, was police. The fire department was like below education. And so you're like the rest of the municipal budget is 10% of what the police are getting. And then people are like, well, it's federal grants. I don't care. Like, we decide what priorities that we spend U.S. taxpayer money on, because that's what it is. It's most of that money is coming from me, from you, Walter.
Yep. I worked as a city attorney, and I had the benefit of working with some pretty phenomenal officers, one of whom was a pretty new recruit, and I knew he was going to go places. But he started with, hey, Ginger, if we just made local ordinances and we charge a disorderly conduct that's a city violation instead of a county violation, guess where most of the money goes? Like, just making simple little changes like that can make a huge change on your budget. And then when I was the family court commissioner for 2 counties, that also put me in a position of being a department head. And so I said to the chairman, I'm like, you are not taking advantage of the money that's available from the feds. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I'll take care of it. And so Judge Kinney listened to me and helped me. What the thing is if you handle a case where there's a potential for a child support is a federal law under the Social Security Act, and there's funds available if you're part of the system that implements and enforces those orders, then the feds are supposed to contribute to your salary. And so we got the court reporters on my team, we got a clerk on my team, and we did the work, and we got the money from the feds. And then I am a part of, at that time, the Family Court Commissioner Association for all 72 counties in the state of Wisconsin. I am like, here's the roadmap. Go follow it. Go get your county some money. And then while you're at it, ask for some money for your domestic violence programs. Go ask for some money for the kids who get caught up in this shit. Keep some of it for yourself when you tell them what you brought in for the county.
Yeah.
Not for yourself personally, but for the programs that will help families that you're helping.
Right.
So Fred, also my main opponent, well, I have 2 opponents right now in the primary. Guess what one's name is? Fred.
Nice.
Do you know what though? This is amazing. So the 20-year-olds who do this, that they do like their podcasts like on Reddit or whatnot, they're like, oh my gosh, did you see this? Do you see who's running for the Congress position? Fred and Ginger. Ha ha ha. Do you think they dance? And so these 20-year-olds are having a blast talking about Fred and Ginger.
Oh, man. Well, at least they're aware of the primaries. Let's look at the silver lining there. I would never have known who was running in a primary. I want to give you I want to give you another
20-year-olds.
messaging tactic, though. Let's
Yes.
equate education to national defense. How about that? What do you think we're going to need in the future? We're going to need people running computers, knowing trajectories of missiles. Let's spend that 1.5 trillion on education. Because if we don't have an educated population, we're not going to be able to fly the planes and the
Oh
rocket
no, we don't need it. We don't need it. AI is going to take care of
See
all that.
now, Fred.
You know,
Oh, listen.
yeah.
So
AI is going to take care of all that.
Yeah.
You'll get me started. I learned about AI from a different vantage point. So when I was doing research, I don't have a lot of money, but I learned the importance of saving it. And so since I was self-employed, I started my self-employment, IRA, and I was reading about AI is going to create this extraordinary gap between those with and those without. Because the people who are going to lose the jobs are the middle class, right? Like
Yeah.
my paralegals are going to be like the first the students that are just coming out of law school, the paralegals, like we have software now that will look up the cases. Like, don't be dumb enough to put that into court without reading it yourself. But AI is going to definitely change a lot of positions. And I think it's really going to create a bigger and bigger gap between the haves and the have-nots if we don't figure out how to harness that and support our people who are coming out of college to be able to take advantage of what's there instead of succumb to what's coming through with this AI. And I am proud of, we have a local legislator, Andrew Heisel, who worked at the law firm I used to work at, who came out with a proposal for a Privacy Act, because like the things that are happening and how AI works. I get that we want these things, and it does help with our senior citizens that if they have Alexa that can tell them what the date is and what the time is and did they take their medicine today. But she doesn't just answer when you say, "Hey Alexa," they're always listening.
Yeah.
They always hear you. And if I say, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry I was coughing," as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to have 7 ads for cough drops and cough syrup. Like, there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that.
Well, and we got the toxic algorithms. Everybody says on social media and all of our kids, we keep saying there's a mental health crisis. The best we can do,
Listen,
go ahead.
as a politician, so I'm a mother of 2. And I saw what it was doing, especially during COVID. And like I had my own issues because as a divorce attorney during COVID, like safe wasn't home wasn't safe for everyone. Like my clients were having to like step out into the garage to call me because they're in the home with their abuser who normally wouldn't have been in the house. But so I called my dad, the mental health guy that I told you about, who worked for the federal government. I'm like, I need you to call my kids and check in on them. Like we just need a mental health person to talk to them about living life through a screen.
Yeah.
And while COVID was put at bay once people got vaccinated and things worked out the way that they worked out, the phones have not left their side. And I'll have to say that with this campaign, I am subject to being addicted to being on here because I'm always looking for information. I'm always checking to see what my opponents are doing. And I want to be responsive to the people who want me to respond to them. It is never ending.
Just subscribe to me and Fred. I mean, that's all you need to know. But I mean, but I was going to say, it's like we have teachers and they celebrate, oh, we have this ban on phones in the classroom. And it's like, yeah, but that phone is poison. And it's like, it's no good that they don't have poison they go out of the class, they have poison in their hands. Yeah. We have to do something. And we have to have these algorithms that can promote actual content of merit would be a good idea. I'm sure you have some ideas on that too, Fred.
The hard part about all this stuff is, and again, I keep hearing it's like, oh, but it's here to stay. It's here to stay. And, and a lot of that, and a lot of that is, it's this feigned helplessness of, well, there's nothing we can do, but there is stuff we can do, right? We can enact laws. We can enact legislation. We can enact, like one of the things that I talk about, like that's, I'm not saying I have an answer for this, but is like, does free speech need to be consequence free at this point? Because what was that one idiot? There's a young kid that made up that crap.
Only one of them?
Yeah.
Right. No, the one I'm specifically referring to, I think it's Nick Shelley or something like that, is the guy that made up all this crap about the Somalis that you don't hear about
Oh,
in Minnesota, right? And they use that as the thing to go into Minneapolis and everything else. It's like
propaganda.
like, how do you
propaganda.
hold those people accountable?
Yeah.
Like Tucker Carlson or Alex Jones, who was part of January 6th, by the way. And, now suddenly it's like, oh, Trump is crazy. It's like, yeah,
You got us here.
you helped bring this about. You should be held accountable for this, or Facebook. Like, I mean, again, you had a landmark case. Facebook and Google were held accountable for this toxicity that's put out there. It's like, free speech. I get all that, but with social media and the pervasiveness of this, the damage that I mean, France is taking steps and Europe is taking steps to what Elon Musk is doing right now.
Yeah.
Because he's promoting
holding them
far-right causes. He's promoting these these extremists.
They raided his office. They raided his offices.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like criminal behavior. And it's like, I just want to say, sorry to interrupt, but we're under that umbrella. The right is just like, well, the government can't work. Nothing can work. They sabotage everything. And even decent people get like, okay, there are problems. And we don't even say to ourselves, we are intelligent people. We can work hard. We can put in things in place that actually do work. Like failure isn't inevitable. We can make this happen. It starts by electing people of integrity like Ginger here. And I see that Fred's on board with that too.
And listen, I mean, when Ford first came out with the car, we could say the car is here to stay. But like we came up with speed limits. We came up with, like, I rode in the back of a car and thought it was cool as hell to wave in the back of the car without a seatbelt on. But we now face forward and we have car seats and we have seatbelts. Like they're
progress. We can progress. We can adapt. We don't have to be the prisoners of technology. We can control it,
Right. Yeah, and if you cause an accident,
consequences.
If you're reckless driving and it's found that you're doing it maliciously, I'm pretty sure they don't just go, well, that's what happens on the roads.
That's going to make him feel bad about himself. If we mention that, it makes him feel bad about himself. So let's just never talk about that. We'll just rip it out like it's pages from the Epstein files. That's redacted. Didn't happen.
We're not done with Epstein files. We're getting to those Epstein files. I'm going to tell you. So I am sitting in tonight on a virtual with Melanie Stansbury from New Mexico. And that lady is in those files every opportunity she has. She's still doing all the rest of her
oversight. In terms of looking for it or being guilty of things
no, looking. Oh, thank you for making me. Yes. No, she's on the oversight committee. And so she's reviewing them. She works twice and weekends.
That's twice I've saved you today, Ginger. I'm glad though. Applaud this woman for look. She's doing what Ellie Leonard's doing. She's holding people accountable. So excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, there
will be a day.
Yeah, that's what we're going to need moving forward, is because we are reaching a place in our culture, in our society, in our nation.
Had enough.
That, these problems are not going to be solved with, tacit measures anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? You're not like, they're going to need serious people and serious and the thing is, like to your point, Walter, they're solvable.
Yes.
We can solve them.
Yeah.
We have, and that's what's crazy to me is it's just, again, AI, you hear a lot about elimination of jobs and this and making people rich. I've never really heard it saying like, hey, how can we use this to solve the climate crisis?
Yeah.
How can we use to solve this, like for these big problems that we all know are there? It's never put towards that. It's never like, hey, we can synthesize this information and figure out how to do this. No, we have to get past this thing over like, man, boy, how can these billionaires just make even more money?
Yeah, how do we help them?
Let's figure that out.
It's not about aw shucks anymore. It's about get it done. I see your voter or your audience is like 25th Amendment. What does it matter if we all get nuked anyway? Like,
she was saying why, and Natasha made a great point. She's like, I'm supposed to be at work, but why? I mean, tonight, and that's a great point, because why are we still submitting to this society? You're just saying there's no healthcare for us. They're about to blow up the whole world. And it's like, maybe now's the moment for the strike. It's like, this has got to stop. I mean, we can't allow them to kill 90 million people. We can't allow that.
Cannot allow that.
Right. And I mean, and again, my prediction is if we don't, if he doesn't do something crazy and and nuke something and destroy the world, I think they're going to 25th Amendment him. And the reason I think they're going to do that is because that's the way that they escape accountability.
Right. Yeah.
Because
they try to make it.
If you impeach him, if you're forced to impeach him to remove him, then now it's like you got to do you got to do the rest of the cabinet, right?
Well, that's just it. People ask that all the time, Fred. What are you going to do? Are you going to vote to impeach him? And I'm like, well, listen, this needs to end. Make no mistake. Also, I think Vance is far more dangerous than Trump. Like he has his wits about him and he doesn't have sundowners. He is deliberate. And so like it can't just be one, there's so much that needs to be taken care of. Yes, all of it. All of it. But we can start somewhere. So we can absolutely start somewhere.
Yes.
And frankly, if we do get the majority in the Senate, in the House, that puts us in a far better situation than where the Republicans just control everything right now. But also, if we don't learn the lesson, then shame on us.
Yeah.
When we get the control, whether it's the Senate, the House, or both, let's not act like this, where you strip away everything that the last president accomplished. Like they got rid of Obamacare because he was pissy that Obama got it through. Like if we can work with people across the aisle to do the things that our constituents need. One of the things, Walter, I talked about, I don't like to use the emotional words, and you won't hear me use the word fight, and it's very deliberate. When I think of a fight, it's at least two people. Only one person can win. And the thing that the person who lost most wants to do is rematch. Whereas if you persuade, it explains two people coming together to make progress going forward without needing to have the rematch. And so I think words matter. It is my profession. Words matter. How we go about the change when we have the power will say who we are. It can't just be now we're going to behave as badly as they did to get everything we want or we'll lose it again. Like it has to be more moderated to meet the needs of we the people, not we the billionaires, not we the people of this party that won this one time, but we the people, all of us, so that we don't lose it in the event there's a majority that's different after the next election cycle. That to me is when we start talking about common sense, because that to me gets us to results. But Fred, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, I feel like Colorado is following Montana on their election financing. Are you all following what Montana was doing about trying to like regulate how much people can spend in their campaigns?
Yeah, I mean, the Colorado's trying to go that route. Like like the thing that's troubling for us right now. So, like, we got hit with
well, you've been selling dope over there, so you're supposed to have a lot more money than we do.
Well, here's the problem with that, right? So because our tax system in the state is very archaic, right? And it's this kind of Byzantine kind of thing that's linked to the federal government and this and that because of the big beautiful bill and them outlawing certain incomes you can't tax that we have to go by. We went from a $200 million surplus to now we're in a $1 billion deficit in terms of tax revenue. So we just got hit with that. And so and we've been trying for the last few election cycles, like we've tried to bring in limits for campaign spending. We've tried to bring in ranked choice voting. It's not quite there yet. These are kind of things that I want to see happen. But our state party with the Democrats, because the Republicans kind of got wiped out, is they're doing what the Democrats did in Virginia, which is like, oh, but we're in charge now. We don't suddenly want to do this. We want to, because this might hurt us. It's like, Yeah, but where there's going to come a point where we're not going to be in power, and
that's what I'm saying. Like,
right.
People need to use their ability to make change in a way that's good for everyone, so that it doesn't get stripped away. If you lose that one vote that makes a difference, just use some damn sense.
Well, and it was the kind of like our like the Democrats here in the state, like they do good things, but then they kind of, again, just like Democrats, they screwed up. Like there was a thing where um like we wanted to pay teachers more. This was a couple years ago, and they tried to do it to some archaic, budgetary move, which on paper seemed really smart, but the voters voted it down because they thought it sounded shady, because that's what Republicans painted it. It's like, oh, they're trying to pay
Bad messaging.
It is about the messaging. Yeah.
they're trying to steal your money from somewhere else, and it's like, not really. But because of our archaic tax system and what it's tied to and what it triggers, and it's, so the big beautiful bill really kind of screwed us in more ways than one.
But listen, everybody can say it. The big beautiful bill, mega, like they have mastered the messaging, and like we need more scrap the crap. Sorry.
Scrap the crap.
Well,
scrap the one too. That's what it again. Yeah.
Scrap it.
All right, that's my new campaign.
Yeah.
Scrap the crap.
No, but I want to say, and you're doing a great thing with that, Ginger, because I've been trying to reach out to the congressional people sitting in Congress. They refuse to talk to us. They're happy to go talk to Joe Rogan. They're happy to talk to Fox News. They won't talk to Fred and me because they're quite happy to go and be on those stations. They're afraid of the questions we give them. But the Democrats don't do anything to win. And I guess, okay, I'm putting it in terms of bad. They don't do anything to educate the public. I'll do it in a way that's positive in honor of your way of doing things.
I would honestly keep that.
They just submit.
I would keep that slogan. Scrap.
Yeah. But no, Democrats just submit. And there's no reason we can't educate the population about why it's better to have Social Security and healthcare and education for our kids, and using education as our national defense and having an unlimited budget. But the current Democratic establishment doesn't want to help creators like me and creators like Fred. So I give you all the credit in the world, Ginger, for being here. And
I appreciate it.
She wants to talk to you. Fred will talk to you again. Give us your webpage and let's start. I got to go get my kids in bed. So give us your webpage.
Oh, yeah. And I did notice, Walter, because we had the problem getting you on, this is Taryn's account. And so it says that I'm Taryn. Taryn is my amazing person who's helping me with all things campaign, but I'm Ginger. And it's Ginger for Us. We have gingerforus.com, and then like Ginger for U.S. Congress on the Facebook. And listen, I have not said no to anyone who's asked me to talk, to listen. I will keep at it. I don't have $1 million, but I will show up to every debate. I will show up to every event I can, to every offer to be out here. I'm there.
Great. And all the 243 people here, you call her up and we need that tidal wave of positive messaging, just so people can hear it. And I'm delighted Fred's here. Fred, thanks so much for being here. And I'm going to bring you in on more of these talks. All I want to do is interview progressive candidates until I'm spitting up blood because I can't talk anymore. It's just like, we're going to win these primaries. We're going to put in people that are actually going to work for us. But go ahead and give your little spiel too, Fred.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. Ginger, best of luck. We definitely need more progressive candidates. We need more candidates that really represent the people instead of just
kids.
Interests. And and again, it's going to take this kind of movement. It's going to take time, but again, it's like, if we get nuked, all right, well, it is what it is. But if we don't,
keep re-educating. Yeah.
If we don't, then we have work to do. So
listen, I'll die trying. That's all you can do. Like,
that's it.
We're all in this to make, like, I believe there's a responsibility to the next generation.
Yeah.
I believe we are stewards of this earth, of what was given to us, to make it better for the next generation. RBG, lead in a way that people will follow. The end.
Was that old parable? Was like, I want to, when it comes to our society, I want to plant trees who I'll never rest under their shade.
And
like that's what I mean, I don't have kids, but I don't want kids that come after me to
Yep.
suffer and have it worse and have to, like, oh man, I want to be able to say, like, I did my part,
Yeah. And
whenever,
that
like, yeah, whenever it's all over. Like,
You're
well,
taking care of your parents. We need to have a system that's going to
yeah.
take care of you.
Yeah.
yeah,
And that
100%.
that mindset of living in this eternal present and thinking there are no consequences and everything you do doesn't matter, and that's what this regime is doing. And they keep doubling down and making things worse and worse. And maybe it's not as, I don't know, it's thinking about the future. Yes, thinking about our kids. How is that not a message we can all get around? I don't know. I think we're gonna get there. We have to. But let's leave it at that. You guys have been wonderful. This has been great. We always have technical issues, but we get through them. And
You
it's
know
been a
why? Because
delight.
the problems can be solved. I'll use
Yes,
Fred's. Yes,
we're
because these
tenacious.
problems
We're
can be
gonna do it.
solved.
And it's always great to see you too, Fred. So we'll do it again soon. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Bye bye.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Bye bye. Thanks, everybody.